So let's maybe start with a small disclaimer for you guys. If you can hear my voice right now, pum pum pum, la la la, you're being recorded, just so that we're clear. Another disclaimer, I prepared this presentation and then I thought like it's a very sad presentation, all failures, all the things that went nowhere. So I decided to add some jokes in there, some humor. So the format might be like a bit of mix of tech talk with improv comedy, but I don't want you to be misleading about it. The entire content and the message I'm trying to convey in here is very valid, very serious, and please take it accordingly. Please consider it seriously. Another thing, I thought the last session was very interactive. That's how I would like this session to be as well. I think it would be way more entertaining and way more enjoyable if we, talk to each other, if you guys ask questions, if you agree with me or disagree with me, especially if you disagree with me. I would really like that. That would be really cool. That would be really awesome. So feel free to participate. And at the same time, I want to excuse myself for the format of this. I will rush through the first part of the session, which is the presentation and me giving a talk. I will rush through this part so that we have as much time as possible for the discussion part, which is the part I'm looking forward to and the part I'm actually excited about. So let's go in and out, 20 minutes adventure. Enjoy. So my name is Mikolaj and I'm representing the Q team at Welt, meaning also my happy colleagues, Henry and Markus. And together we form our Q team, which is the name of our A/B testing team, A/B testing and personalization to be more precise. And it's also a James Bond reference for those who are not familiar. Yay. So for those who are not familiar, Q was this crazy scientist guy building weapons and gadgets for James Bond. And how we view ourselves and how you would like to be seen by others, how you would like to be seen by you guys, is that what we are to the Welt is what Q was to MI6, I guess. I'm not super sure about it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was MI6. We don't get to build those awesome, umbrellas and cars. Sadly, no. It would be really awesome. I really would like that. So the job which would allow me to do that kind of thing, please drop me a line without my team lead knowing it. But we get to build features, and that's awesome and cool, and I love it. Henry, please don't fire me. Here's an example of a fake do test, where we basically address the user and show them a possibility to listen to an article instead of reading it. And how it works more broadly and how it works in general is that we have stakeholders coming from different teams and even departments, and they pitch their ideas to us. So they just come with a vision without having any technical knowledge whatsoever, and they just pitch the idea. And what we do two things. First of all, we try to think about this idea and look at it from all different angles, and just make sure we do no harm in the first place. Meaning, your idea may be bad for many various reasons. For example, it can be bad for SEO reasons, and we do not want to affect and harm the work of our colleagues from SEO team. So we will try to work around it, and if we cannot, we will dismiss your idea. Sorry, but that's how it works. And your idea might be bad for many reasons. It can be bad for legal reasons or many others. Just an example. But if it's not the case, if we can make it work so that we don't destroy someone else's work, we would check if it's technically possible to implement. We can do a lot, but we're in the end limited by browsers and frameworks we use. But we can still do a lot. Trust me, guys, we can still do a lot. So if you have an idea, come to us. Feel free. Especially if you work for Build or Welt, you can come to us anytime, and we will talk about it, and we will discuss if your idea is can be implemented. And if those requirements are met, we will start working on your idea. We will try to basically turn your idea into actionable reality, into actual feature, the thing which will be put on our website. And if we have any stakeholders who work with us at the moment, feel free to share your experiences later, maybe in the discussion part, because I think you guys happy because working with us, I guess, is kind of cool. I hope it's cool. At least from our part, we enjoy working with our stakeholders. And if you're not a stakeholder, just talk to us. We're nice people. Trust me there. But this framework or this approach puts us in a very interesting position, because what we get to see is, of course, all the successes, but that's what most people get to see. I mean, just imagine you're in the upper managements or somewhere higher rank position. You have people below you reporting to you and basically showing you all the successful projects, all the things that went very well and that turned out okay. But what you don't, or the same at TechCon actually, when you think about it, you just join, a conference, you see people going up on stage or joining Microsoft Teams in this case, and you just hear people talking about all the successful things that they've done, like, that's how you build product because we built this very awesome product, or that's how you manage projects because we manage them so well. That's how you sell stuff because we sold this thing for so much money and we are so rich right now. But what you don't get to see are all the failures, all the things that didn't go anywhere, all the doubts. And we get to see this because we tried those things. And I think it's really important to, first of all, acknowledge those things and learn from those things, and keep track of the ratio of the things that actually work and the things that you actually try. So just keep those two things, in mind. And this talk, I just want to have it mentioned very quickly, is inspired by Jack Conte. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. So Jack is the founder of Patreon. You might know him very well, but you might also not. He's also an artist. And about a year ago, it was about the same time when I joined the Q team, I saw this speech called Nothing Works, where Jack basically described his entire career, really, literally his entire career as an artist, including all the songs, all the albums, all the paintings, all the movies. And, he didn't filter it. He just talked about all the songs that he has written and which were published, and maybe 10 people listened to this song, or a movie which had 10 views or something. And just to show people how many things you have to try, how much you have to try in order to get few successful tries. And I thought hey, that's first of all very informative and very uplifting if you fail, because let's be real, we all fail from time to time. And I was also kind of thinking, okay, it's so applicable and just so transferable to our daily work as software engineers. So when TechCon organizers asked me, Mikolaj, what would you like to present? I basically told them, imagine this talk from Jack Conte but from perspective of software engineering or from product development. So instead of songs or albums, we will talk about features, and set of arts, we will talk about software in general. So nothing works, or to be less clickbaity, sorry guys for being clickbaity and sorry for being a little dramatic, many things don't work. That's the statement I can basically sign with my name, and that's what I wanted to convey. So some time ago, it was earlier this year, I think it was January or February, around this time, we had one of the product managers pitching their idea to add a back to home button on the bottom of article pages. So when you scroll to the very bottom of the article page, you are probably done reading the article, you want to go to the home page and read more articles and so on. And she thought it would be very convenient to put a button in there which does that for you, actually. And, you can see these buttons, it's this orange button on the right bottom corner. So she was very happy to pitch it because it seemed like a very good idea. I was very happy to start working on it for the very same reason. And so what we did is we took all the users on article pages, we split them into 3 groups. 2 of them would get displayed some version of a button, 2 different versions of a button, 2 different designs, if you will. And the third group would get no button at all, would just see no button at all. And our objective, our main goal was basically in which way, shape, and form of the button we should basically deploy to production permanently. And the answer was none of them. None of the buttons should be deployed to the production. People didn't like it. People ignored it. No one, or almost no one, clicked on it. The conversion rate, so the percentage of people who clicked on this button after seeing it was in one variation 1%, and in the other even below this. So very, very low conversion rate. People didn't care, people didn't like, it's a dud. And that happens. We were almost sure it would work, it didn't. But sometimes things don't work, sometimes things work. So let's be more positive and let's talk about something that maybe worked. Sometime later, a few months passed, it was probably around something like this. The very same product manager, by the way, if you're watching this or if you will watch later, Caro, we like working with you. You have some really cool tickets and really cool ideas to tell. And animated teasers will be done by Friday. We had this inactivity overlay like since forever. And if you are on article page, you don't click around, you don't move around, you get displayed this pop-up saying, we have some new articles on the homepage. You might want to go there and read them. And how we felt about it, it's not very interactive, not very entertaining. There's just plain text and a button. So we thought, okay, what we might do about it, we might put some articles in this element. So we grabbed articles from the homepage, put them in those elements. In two of the variations, in another variation, we put a newsletter subscription functionality. And again, we were like super happy. We had this time a good idea. We had this time proper engineering. It was kind of tricky to implement it, but this time it was really supposed to work. It was like really, really well prepared, and we were 100% sure it would work. And guess what? It didn't work again. So before that, I lied. It didn't work again. Sorry. So here we measured clicks on these articles elements, which we put in this inactivity overlay. And you can again see the conversion rate of 0.16%, very low, or even in the second variation, 0.08%, very, very low. And if you look also on total numbers, you can imagine how big traffic on Welt is. And you have a total number of, you can see there, 217 people. That's, 217 people clicked on this thing. And that's, probably even less. That's probably including my mom, because I called her and told her, hey, my code is in production. You might want to check it out. It's even less people. That's like almost no one. Another failure, another thing no one cares about. And there are now a few things to keep in mind in here. First of all, in each of these cases, we had some feelings like in our stomachs and some, predictions what, our users might like or dislike. In the end, nothing of this mattered. And what's important is to keep in mind that those are just the things that I had in screenshots folder. If you ask Henry and Marcus, who are in this talk, I guess, I hope they are, and I hope they're watching, they have their examples, and they have even more of this, and I have even more of this. It just happened to be the two examples that I had in my folder. The list goes on and on, trust me. And what else is important to keep in mind? I've been talking for, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I needed 30. If I am about to talk for 30 minutes, I would need 60 slides, and I have absolutely no time for it. No time whatsoever. My Kanban board is full of tickets piling up. I have nothing in progress. My email, Slack, and Teams are full of unread messages. My team lead is getting angry. His name is Henry, and he's angry, so that makes him hangry, I guess. Another bad idea. What do you expect? Nothing works. So here's the important part, and I'm gonna slow down now. We have some time, but those are the slides I want you to remember. Those were some memes, there were some jokes, and some examples of failures. But here are the important slides, and if you are to take away anything from this talk, that's the next few slides. So many things don't work. They don't work for us, and they might not work for you as well. I mean, we are not so different after all. We just, people, and we cannot really always guess what other people might like. It's like in this game show when you try to guess the most popular answer, like, hey, what's the capital city of Australia? And you might even know the right answer, that is Canberra. But it's really difficult to guess that people might say Sydney or Melbourne. It's really difficult to estimate what percentage of people will say Sydney, and it's just difficult to guess what people will say and what people will like. And how lack of A/B testing harms your product. First of all, you deploy bad ideas in I mentioned, we implemented A/B tests. We put them on production, but just for some time, and then we decided to not proceed with those ideas. So they are not included in the final product. If you don't test it, those ideas end up in your product, and you fill your product with just those bad ideas adding up in there. What else? You waste your resources, meaning you hire all those people, all those very smart people, and they work very hard. All the product managers, all the designers, all the developers, and they just work on things that don't matter in the end. And I think you should respect all those people. Another thing, the third thing, your prioritization might be wrong, meaning even if you have two good ideas, which both should end up in the final product, let's agree with that. We have two things and they're both okay. But then again, maybe one idea might lift your sales by a factor of 10, and the other just by 10% or something like this. It's pretty clear which feature you should start with. And if you don't, it's another harm to your product. Fourth point, you don't get to recognize patterns. It's about a bit vague statement, but I hope you will understand this. So what I mean by that is try different ideas and you get immediate feedback, and that's important. That's immediate feedback. You will develop an intuition or learn how to, tell apart the good ideas from the bad ones. You will see the pattern of all the good ones. You will learn from them, and you will try to repeat those successes. And similarly for the bad ones, you will, learn what to avoid in the future. And you don't get to do this if you do if you don't do any evaluation and no A/B testing. And the fifth point is you get to be very innovative. Meaning, imagine the following scenario. You have a great idea and no one has ever done anything like you. You have like something completely new. And you come to your manager and say something along the lines, hey, listen, I have this idea. No one has ever done this before. Let's put it on production. There's a good chance, and I think my manager would say something like, hey, listen, Mikolaj, it's a cool idea, but there might be a good reason why other people don't do this thing. It might be risky, you might break something, there might be some reason behind this. But it's a completely different story if you approach your manager with results of an A/B test and tell him or her, hey, we have this A/B test and the statistics show that, we tested this in a safe environment for quite some time, and statistics show that this thing is a good idea and it will lead to, uplift in sales by, 50%. It's a completely different story, and most people will agree with you and will help you bring your feature to the production. So all of this, stop guessing, start experimenting. That's our pitch. That's the motto it's a mantra of our team lead, actually. And at this point, you might be like, either stop, Mikolaj, it's not going to happen. We don't like your A/B testing, or you might be like, yeah, sure, that sounds interesting. And I think in both cases, you should know what are we capable of, as Q team. So I couldn't find a proper analogy for this. I thought quite a long about this. What I came up with Subway, which is not great, but I think it's good enough. So how it works at Subway, you have those stations where you choose your bread, then you choose your main ingredient, and then you choose your sauce and spices. How it works with us is that first you select your targeting, meaning we work with pages and URLs because our product is a website, a web app. If you work with a mobile app, it would be views probably. And you also select user group that can be based on geolocation. So you might target people only in Berlin, or people only in Hamburg, or people in Hamburg and Berlin, or around the globe, but not in Berlin or Hamburg. You can do all kind of logic in there. You can target them by browser and device, only people on smartphones, and so on and so forth. By interest, because that's what we track. So you can target only people interested in sports or politics or finance. Past behavior, you can basically show the A/B test only to people who clicked on some element within last 8 days, for instance. And you can all those things you can match. So you can use geolocation at the same time as browser and interest, and it's very powerful when you think about it. Those queries can be very powerful. Then you select your action, which is our main ingredient in Subway terms. You can change wording on your page. You can change style. You can remove or add elements, or you can replace, because that's what removing and adding adds up to. You can fetch data from different sources. So if you have something on your S3 bucket, or on some kind of API, you can fetch this data and put on your all the good stuff. And then the final step is to select your KPI. So you want to track page impressions, or maybe clicks on some elements, or scrolling, or sales. You can track many things. With JavaScript, you can add many trackers in there, and trust me, it's also very powerful. Exactly as in the first step, you can do a lot of things in there. Here's an example of a sandwich or an A/B test. So for instance, let's take the page of homepage. Let's target users which are free users, which have no subscription of our Vert product. And let's replace all the premium articles which they see there with articles that they have previously opened but couldn't read because they are free articles. So they just saw the paywall and couldn't read the article itself. You can imagine how it would affect the sales. And that's actually something that we've done in the past. So, having that said, now you know why you might want to do A/B test. That's the slide I wanted you to remember with those 5 points, and what you can do, what's possible with A/B testing. There's a slide which I showed you with the Subway. And we can maybe jump into actual discussion. And I'm gonna just finish this thing, and I'll jump into Teams right now.